tip those Wookiee bartenders 20%. No droids, no bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies, no sequel trilogy fans of any kind. We don't do that here. Let's talk about this. I would say, in retrospect, we should have expected rumors like this to pop up. We got one from Mikey Thutton and one from WDW Pro. Neither guy bats 1,000. Okay, first off, when you're peddling on rumors and scoops, sometimes you're not right. In fact, a majority of the time, you're not right. So, why do I doubt it? I doubt everything. And that's the way we should look at this. We have until about mid-October to find out for sure if any of this is going on. Does it matter if she's there? Well, no. If she's not allowed to touch anything and she behaves herself, no. But it's about appearances. And there's a large swath of fans who don't understand what the word figurehead means. And we all know what she was able to do to Gina Carano. Now, in one of my previous videos today, I basically did a heart-to-heart chat with Kennedy, and maybe she'll see it. I think she should. I would think she would look at this and walk away as soon as Indy's done, and walk away. Take her accolades, all the rest of that shit, and walk away. Okay? I don't know why saving face is so important to this bitch. But I contend that when this is a story I heard, and it was in the news. She's at the airport in DC at Dulles, and some stupid bitch runs up to her from some woman's independent, whatever, left-wing feminazi organization, and starts jumping up and down saying, "Oh my God, you're such a role model, you're such a glass ceiling breaker." This is what we get when we don't know our history. First off, that's creating mythology that didn't exist, and it doesn't exist. It's not even propaganda. It is whole heart. When I hear people say, she's the most powerful woman in Hollywood, I hear people say, she's done this, 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 and this. And I look at it and go, that's the Mandela effect. You're not remembering things correctly. It is not what she did to give herself this mythology that has been built up around her. And it is a mythology. All right. It is the fact that she believes it, and other people, including people in our group, believe it. When you go and you look at some of the big entertainment rags and they do the 100 most powerful women in film, and she's like number 50? Okay, there's that. Everything people think about Kennedy is a myth. That's not real. That's not who she is. That's not where she sits in the hierarchy of Hollywood. And I really think it's time for people to understand that. And the confidence they have in that, it's like, stop it. Just stop it. The Empress has no clothes, okay? And she's never had any clothes. Her running Lucasfilm into the ground proves it, all right? And don't pretend that people in Hollywood don't know it. And don't pretend there are people in Hollywood that wouldn't tell her to her face. Because I guarantee you, in every industry, there are people out there that would say what you did at Lucasfilm is a travesty. You had an excuse to print money and you shit all over it. You forgot the fans. Okay? Because she believes her own bullshit. It is what some people refer to as smelling their own farts and liking the stink. Okay, it's gross, but I look at this and I think somebody either did take her aside and said, this is it, you can't do this anymore. You can pretend to be running things. And there are people dumb enough out there in the fandom, and I'm pointing my finger at a group of people that would actually believe she still runs it because they're that dumb. But, you know, everybody knows that that is just bullshit. It's a lie. And she's a figment of her own imagination. And we've all seen this before. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, Marlene Dietrich had the self-awareness to call herself, I am a myth. She said that about herself, her image. Kathleen Kennedy would never be able to say that about herself because she's that narcissistic. Okay? She's that narcissistic. And she's that much, she's so not aware of the reactions of people. Now, but we can go back and talk about that. So, I don't believe that they're giving her a multi-year contract. I mean, my bitch at Mike Sutton is this. You couched this as a fact, and it is a rumor. At least WDW Pro couches this as a rumor. Okay? It is a rumor. A rumor, underlined 3 times. So please, Mike, stop it. Okay? You are not Peter Jennings or Edward R. Murrow, okay? You're not David Susskind. You're just an entertainment geek reporter who doesn't work for Variety or The Hollywood Reporter or any other place that I'd actually buy what they're saying, okay? So, slow your roll, my friend. Slow your roll. Yes, I'm going there. I'm going there. I find this difficult to believe that it's any more than a 1-year contract because we all know from what the first Variety article said that Chapek wants to put these executives on a 1-year contract. And he wants to make them responsible for what they do. And he wants to get rid of the multi-year contracts. And then we've got the statement in the same article that he's looking to the fall, which is, hey, 2 weeks away, to start restructuring Lucasfilm. Or restructuring Disney more. Another thing that people seem to forget. All of the changes that have happened since 2018. We've got Mohsen Gupta being brought over from Netflix. Basically, she's the bean counter. Then we suddenly wake up this summer and discover that Dave Filoni is head of all creative stuff at Lucasfilm. All right? That should probably make even the biggest dipshit naysayers go, there's something going on here. You know, but I don't expect people to do that because there's another whole group that enjoys the smell of their own farts. There has obviously been shit going down at Lucasfilm. Okay, we know that. What kind of restructuring is happening there, because we know there's restructuring going on, we don't know, okay? But we do know something's going on. I also look back at what Pablo said about her and his own career at Lucasfilm when confronted. After 20 years, I have no plans in particular, and I don't know what hers are. Now, if Chapek with Favreau and Filoni get her isolated, which means she doesn't have the story group, they're out, they're gone, they're not there anymore. If they have the story group gone, if you have, thanks Planet Musk, if you have people that were causing trouble on her behalf, either out or isolated themselves to the point where they can't do anything, I wouldn't mind it. Okay, but she has to be in a place where she literally can't do anything, where there's no one at the company that will do her bidding if she asks them. Okay, there's too many things going on right now that tell me that the people in her immediate office don't want her there. I mean, I believe all that. I really, really do. Again, this is a woman who actually believes her own mythology and expects everybody else to believe it. This is a woman who actually doesn't understand the difference between net box office and gross box office. I'm sure it took her a long time to figure out how to balance her own goddamn checkbook, along with looking at her pay stubs going, I earned this much, why don't I have this much? You know, but again, hey Maze. Okay, that's cool. My thing is, if it's a 1-year contract, she can retire after Indiana Jones wraps. And quietly, like Cameron has said, and or not quietly, because the moment it's obviously that cunt is gone, the yub nub will happen. But again, I will believe that she's isolated and can't touch anything when I hear about people being let go from the story group. Maze, Indy 5 is scheduled to come out next June or next July. So, you know, and again, she doesn't necessarily have to be a fucking head of Lucasfilm to make fucking Indiana Jones fucking 5. Okay, that is such a goddamn cop-out. Really? I look at it and go, there are people asking, how do we get a hold of the the guys that do the investments, the hedge fund guys? I will give you a list. I don't have their direct contact. If I did, I would be writing a mass email. Lawrence Fink, Laurence, Fink, CEO, BlackRock. He has an MBA from USC. Mortimer J. Buckley. He has an MBA from Harvard. He does Vanguard. State Street. Now, there are two different people at State Street, and I would probably write both of them. You've got Ronald O'Hanley and the guy at State Street Global, Cyrus Taraporavella. Go look that name up. But they're two different people, and one I think is ahead of everything, and one is ahead of the global thing, and I think that's the main investment house. He won't sell it because he's not 15. He promised his mom and whatever. Craig Lemkow, Goldman Sachs. He's one of the co-chairs. Keith Glenfield, Merrill Lynch, and there are others, but I didn't look. But you've got, let's see, Wells Fargo, etc., etc., and there are others. We can make life a living hell for Chapek over this. We really could. I like Bob Chapek, but it's Lemkau. And he's Goldman Sachs. He's one of the co-chairs. My advice is if you can get there, and some of these guys are on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, feel free. I am really, there's the washer. Thank you. It'll stop someday. There. But I do think that she's probably gone before the contract. Hey, Valiant, did you hear about this? Are you going to talk about all this shit? Because here's my thing. Here's what I'm afraid of. There are going to be a lot of people at certain channels. They're going to take this and run with it. It's Korean. Oh, you were? Okay. I left the chat on, but I fell asleep. I couldn't, God, you guys don't ever get any sleep. I'm like, 9 o'clock, ask Maze, I turn into a pumpkin. And I'm not kidding, I get really tired really fast. And I can stay up if I have to, but it's hard for me. It really is, especially when the dog, let's put it this way, I'll tell you guys a story. I'll get back to what I'm talking about. I was laying there in bed this morning at 6:30. Ick, Valiant, ick. Oh, that's right. You guys don't have electricity yet. Damn it, I feel bad. I'm laying there in bed, 6:30, and oh yeah, I figured. Dipshit starts rattling his kennel, crying and whining, and he went to bed about 9:30, 10 o'clock when I did. I purposely left a pair of shoes next to the bed. My husband's grumbling. I'm laying there going, okay, I told you to shut up. Dog, shut up. Wouldn't shut up. Also, I picked a shoe up and I hurled it and hit the kennel. Not a peep. After he went, yeah, screamed. Not a peep for another hour. I was like, don't do that to mom. Don't do that to mom. Don't wake me up like that, okay? I don't like it woken up like that. And it's every damn morning. My husband called and I don't know what's going on there. Okay, I'm back. My husband called and I don't have a big thing like everybody else does. And when anybody calls me, this thing likes to freeze up. And I should probably just turn off the phone, part of this phone apparatus, so I can actually do a live stream. Anyway, yeah, so me and the dog had it out, and he basically shut his mouth for an hour, and I was very happy. I don't wake up mom. Anyway, yeah, okay, Valerie, you're saying take a chill pill about Kennedy, and I agree with that. We don't know if it's even true or not. And like I said, and I'm going to be brutally honest here, WDW Pro's a nice guy. He's a good guy. He also doesn't bat 100. Neither does Mike Sutton. We were told by Doomcock, if you remember, and he should remember this, so if he's listening, that we were going to get different competing rumors going out there. But, again, I don't see her staying through any contract, even if it is an extension. And for the life of me, I will never understand why it's so important to keep her around to wrap a movie. I know, I can't, Valiant, I'm like, to me, just watch, it's okay, Dave. Watching from the outside looking in, it's like, why would you do that? And of course, we're going to have the same whiners and bitching and moaning, the same group attacking us. What I love about the fandom menace is that you can only have one opinion. Okay, you can, the sky could be blue. You could say it's blue. If somebody from, well, Chapek, I don't think they're looking for a replacement. That ship has sailed. I look at it and I go, they have a replacement. No, it doesn't. That doesn't tell me that at all. This is all about Kennedy wanting to go out with their head held high, and I don't agree with you on. Yeah, I think Cameron could be right on that. I don't see Jon Favreau saying no to that job. I see them giving Kennedy a padded way out with the golden parachute and pretending like everything is fine, which is, I think that's what this is. And it might have something to do with Chapek's war with Feige, which is, to be honest, bigger right now. And if, I got a Deadline Hollywood email saying the praises of Shang-Chi, 60 million this weekend. That doesn't make it a success. Especially since next weekend it's going to crash and burn. Okay. It's not, this isn't going to be, this is a war to change Disney. Kennedy's part of that war. That war's already been won. Yeah, well, how much it costs to make. When you have people saying, here's the deal, it opened lower than Birds of Prey. And I think Black Widow on Thursday. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Joker voice. So I disagree with you, Valiant. I disagree with you on that. Lucasfilm would be for somebody in our group who's making movies, the ambition and the goal to attain. And if he was able to really affect it in the way that it needs to be as the head, I could see that. I don't absolutely disagree with you on that. Absolutely. If you watch the way he talked about Mandalorian, the end of Mandalorian season 2, he was almost crying. I don't agree with that. I think that is, he's what, my age? So he saw Star Wars the first time in 1977, just like Robert Rodriguez did. And we all walked out going, I want to do that when I grow up. All right. That person that you were when you walked out of that movie in 77 has not changed. And yeah, so you might be a little older. I'm 53, so I mean, I'm the same age as Robert Rodriguez. By the way, he's kind of hot. Just want you guys to know I think that. But uh, I am going. It to me. Here's the deal, and I think it's been mentioned. I think it's been everywhere. I don't think it would. I really, really don't, because there's a lot. Like, he's got other things he could do while he does that. I mean, if you've got Dave Filoni and Mosa and Gupta doing the day-to-day stuff, you are a lot freer than Kennedy was. And Kennedy was basically like, fuck this shit. I'm gonna go to my beach house in Malibu, drink wine and complain about men. So I mean that, which is what she did. I never heard that. I've never heard he does. She, but again, this is all about, from what I can see, she's saving face. They're allowing her that, which is like, why? Hard ass stuff. I mean, like I said, this is what I would say to her if I was the friend that would reflect the truth back in her face. They don't want you around anymore. They don't want you around. You need to stop. The people that were running things the way you wanted them to are gone. They're leaving. Everybody at Disney that has been your supporter and your ally is leaving. You need to step down. You are not happy. You never were happy doing this job. I don't know why you thought you'd want to do it. You didn't break any glass ceilings. Those glass ceilings were broken in 1909 by a woman named Alice Guy Breget, I think her last name was. She and her husband came to the United States and opened up a movie studio that she ran in New Jersey. Okay, she was literally, I think, the first person ever to direct a movie. So, Steven Spielberg runs DreamWorks and he also runs Amblin, so, Valiant, you gotta remember that Steven Spielberg runs Amblin and DreamWorks. So, I think if he can do that, Favreau can do that. I think Favreau is probably going to take over. But I would tell her, you got to walk away. And you have to make it so the fans know. I mean, I would say, did you not notice what happened on the Oscars video you did? They don't want you there anymore. Everything you've touched, they don't like it. And this mythology you've built up around yourself, most powerful woman in Hollywood. Don't tell Anne Sarnoff. Don't tell Barbara Streisand. Don't tell Oprah that. Don't tell all these other women that. Yeah, but see, he can do both jobs, so why couldn't Favreau do that? I mean, you're looking for excuses for Favreau not to come in. And I think he would. And I think he probably will, because I've got a thing that I'm going to connect to that. In fact, I think it's already been done. I think it's already been decided. I think it was decided this last summer, or even maybe the summer before. But I would tell her all this. It's over. Why do you want this so bad? Why do you need this so bad? Yeah, I think they probably would. I think they probably would. Um, but no one is going to tell her that. Not even her husband. If it was me, my husband would say, Steph, you need to sit down. I need to talk to you. A, B, and C. And I would, okay, fine. You're right, you're fine. This did not work out. And sometimes you're not successful at things. But she's obviously not the head of a studio. Whereas, why does it do that? There you go. Whereas, she's a good producer as long as she's got her husband with her, you know? Now, let's go to the reason why I think that he may end up being the top dog at Lucasfilm. Here's the deal. You put a 1 in the chat if you remember this. I can't remember if it was Doomcock or somebody else, but it was announced that there was going to be a big announcement. Bob Chapek doesn't have a Twitter account, which is why Twitter no longer, I think, matters in the decision making of Disney. There was supposed to be a big announcement at Celebration 2022. It would not shock me that no, it's not too bad. It's good. It's good. Twitter needs to be nuked from orbit, as far as I'm concerned. Part of the reason why we're here where we're at right now is because of that filthy piece of garbage, so-called social media platform. There are other ways you can get a hold of people if you need to. Facebook has Messenger, okay? And despite my just outright hatred of Mark Zuckerberg and the fact that I'm always getting in trouble there, I'm in another 30-day suspension because I went off on somebody who was kissing Jane Fonda's ass. Anyway, so they're going to make some sort of announcement. We may have to wait until 2022 to hear who's taking over Lucasfilm. Okay. That's what I'm thinking here is they're going to announce the new they're going to announce the new head of Lucasfilm there, if there is even a head. Okay. The reason why I say that is because they might not want a new leader at Lucasfilm. They might be perfectly happy having Dave Filoni and Mohsen Gupta answering straight to the person running the head, Alan Bergman. All right, and Chapek himself. Or they'll name Jon Favreau or whoever. Okay. But I don't think we're going to see her 6 months out from the time Indiana Jones 5 wraps. I think she's probably done. And I don't see how they can do this quietly. Here's my problem with all this. We fans deserve better. Don't we? We do. We deserve better. And we're not getting it right now. We deserve to know what's going on. This shit with Pablo Hidalgo, and I do believe he's intentionally causing Dave Filoni shit right now. I do. What he said to that person on Twitter, I do not follow things that interest me. What does that mean? And I think there's several reasons why he doesn't follow Star Wars, Disney, or Marvel. He doesn't want those people knowing that, that he has a public account. You know, but again, if he's gone, if several other people who were part of the Kennedy cabal are gone, and she's isolated for the next 6 months to a year, 10 months, who cares? Who cares? But we need to know. We need to know. All right. This is something that is near and dear to my heart because she has allowed these people to run rampant over us, to hurt us, to hurt the franchise. And they knew exactly what they were doing. Every time I think of Pablo Hidalgo sitting at a Starbucks with Ryan Johnson, looking through Tumblr to find fan fiction they can use for their fucking TLJ, and laughing at everybody naturally speculating about what's going on in Star Wars, I want to beat him with his own arm. You know, that guy deserves to be out on the street. And everybody with him that was part of that deserves it too. And I mean it. And he's still there. And maybe not at Lucasfilm, but he's still around. He crossed the line years ago. Oh yeah, well, Maze, he was the one that had the whiteboard up with dinosaurs and divert the tea and all the rest of that shit. Where was Kennedy? Getting her nails done and going to a Me Too meeting? Where was Kennedy? Nowhere to be seen. And she wonders why Star Wars is in the dumpster. And, not pro-war. It's like, what I love about these people is that, we're talking about people that don't know history very well and don't know really anything. Putting this all together, and it was a troll. Yeah, it's neglect. She absolutely neglected the franchise because she didn't care about it, because everybody knows she didn't like it. The reason why we got Rey is because she wanted a Star Wars she could like. And we got a dumpster fire. And I'm going to tell you this. J.J. Abrams knows. Ryan Johnson, deep in his heart, knows. They all fucking know. Okay? And they know they screwed up. The TLJ was a troll of the fans. That's all it was. $225 million to do a mean tweet to people, which is what it was. That's all it was. Then we get the rise of a dumpster fire, which was like watching a toilet back up. There were ways to fix all this. And they did everything they could to avoid fucking fixing it. Hey, Avanas. Awesome. Good. I'm gonna be done in like a few minutes because I gotta change for church. JJ knew, yeah, you're right. JJ knew they sucked and he still went with it. He still went with it because he's a politician, not a creative. But they all, Ryan Johnson is a rumored alcoholic. He had a cadre of film friends that would go around trolling fans who didn't like their movies. JJ is a coward and a chicken shit. Kennedy has this mythology built around herself as the most powerful woman in Hollywood. you know, I'm literally like, no, you're not. And every time people say that, I'm like, oh God, stop it. No. The Empress has no clothes. She hasn't, the apex of her power, if you want to call it that, was right after the Force Awakens came out. Well, Pablo is a troll. And we all know the rumors about him. You know, I was told by somebody a long time ago, he used to be a YouTuber, and he ended up being kind of a dick, mind you, that Pablo bullied somebody so badly over the EU that the guy tried to kill himself. Okay. There was that Reddit leak that throws both Pablo and Jason Ward under the bus. So, and I said this last night, and I will say this again. Pablo Hidalgo knows the guys at Wikipedia. Would it shock any of you that he was partly responsible for the bullshit that showed up about Kelly Mary Tran? Give me a 1 in the chat if you think so. Because it won't shock me at all. He borders on criminal behavior. I'm telling you that right now. He really, really does. So when I saw him getting a retweet or a tweet from Wikipedia, I was like, now, there's circumstantial evidence, there's what I call indirect evidence, and there's direct, yeah, you fucking did it. We know you did it. Here's the proof. Evidence. Circumstantial evidence. We have a ton of bots trending fire Gina Carano. We have Gina. Oh yeah, he's got dozens. In fact, if you look at his public account, he's got 5,000 followers. And at least 2 of his trolls attacked a friend of mine for basically, in Abu, I don't know if you knew this. I decided we needed to kick the hornet's nest. I was coming back from the world's largest Cabela's with my husband a couple months ago, and we went on a shopping spree. And Dimcock put up a video, and I had my earphones on, so I listened to it, and it got me thinking. We really need somebody to confront Pablo to his face, to see what he does. So I put that out there in a video later that afternoon. That evening, a friend of mine did that. I'll give you the paraphrase. He goes to Pablo, when Kathy leaves, are you going to stay? Are you going to leave with her? Maybe you should leave now. It would be for the best. May the force be with you. Now, the response that he got was not what I thought we were going to get. It would have either been, fuck you, shut up, blah, blah, blah. It would have been mocking. It would have been snarky. It would have been any of that. Or it would have gone unnoticed. Or what we got. And what we got was not what I expected. What he said is, and I memorized this, I do have it screenshot because I was shocked. After 20 years, I have no plans in particular, and I don't know what hers are. Right between the lines. So we've got Mike Sutton and WDW Pro saying she's staying. She's getting her contract extended. Then we've got one of the instigators in all this shit saying that. And the way he's acting on Twitter now, he's standing on the outside with his nose pressed up against the glass. And it's very weird how people talk to him like he's not there anymore. I really would like to know if he is or he isn't. Okay, I really, really would, because, and I really want someone to confront him full on. Are you really there at Lucasfilm anymore? Because you sure don't act like it. Okay, now, he probably has people who feel sorry for him because he plays the victim card. My thing is this. If he is gone, and we see other names coming out that are gone, that we know were part of the attacks on Gina, not just in the story group, but literally in the production side, because she had a story where she had really good makeup people, and then one day they were gone, and these idiots showed up and didn't do anything right. So there are that has to be taken care of too. And if that's the case, John and Dave will take care of that. But if we hear names like Matt Martin leaving, and again, I'll tell you something else. You know who took the name Lucasfilm off of her account? Mrs. Hidalgo, Pablo's wife. Yeah, she did. I don't think he's there anymore, but I need evidence. I need direct proof. We have circumstantial evidence that he knows the guys at Wikipedia. We know he's a troll. We know he's a troll. I mean, Maze and I had an argument with him on the Geeks and Gamers, video one time. We know it was him. We know it was him. And I know he showed up on my channel. But I also think that he's done enough to shadow ban me to where I'm not getting any views anymore. All right. But he's been doing that to a lot of people. Very weirdly now, it's happening to Midnight's Edge. It's happening to Doomcock. There's something that I think is directly tied to him. And I can't pinpoint what it is, but with Drunk 3PO, yeah, they did. With Drunk 3PO getting suspended permanently, and his connection to Gina, I'm going to say this. Pablo has somebody on the inside of Twitter, and they go after these people. So, guess what? Kennedy can be long gone. Pablo can be gone from Lucasfilm, and he'll still be bothering people. Well, it was a bullshit move, so I think it was Pablo. Cameron Pasha thinks it's Pablo. That's who was behind his suspension. Probably behind every one of my suspensions. In fact, Maze, I think it was Maze, went and looked up this guy named, something Splash, and it ended up being one of Pablo's accounts. And this guy was stalking me all over goddamn Twitter. And I didn't know he was real. Okay. Now, the funny thing is, that account, yeah, I think you're right. I really, really do. And I don't see, here's the deal, and then I gotta go. Here's the deal. Dave Filoni has been at Lucasfilm as long as Pablo, or maybe not as long. He is now number 3 in charge. He is the one that signs off on all the creative content. You think there might be a little jealous career envy going on there? Professional jealousy going on? You notice that Pablo doesn't follow him or Jon Favreau anywhere? On either account, from what I've heard? You think he's not behind all the attacks on oh, he does have Filoni envy. In fact, I would wager $1,000 that he is behind all the Ahsoka is more powerful than Luke bullshit going on. Okay, I would wager that. I should have 100 people in my chat, but this is what happens. So, not only do I think that Hidalgo and the Goon Squad, Jason Ward, have gone after our channels, I have a feeling there are people within our own fandom that have. Because in our fandom, if you don't follow in lockstep what a group of other fans think, you will get shit on. No, you can't. You can't. That's all I'm going to say on that. So, what do I think about Valiant? Are you still here? I hope so. This is what I think. This is a rumor. As John 42 said, it's a rumor until it's true. So, and I'm being cynical about it. Because the newspapers the actual news, don't follow these rumors. There's more evidence that she's leaving in the actual news than there is that she's staying. Okay? You gotta look at the analysis. Okay? We're not getting any transparency from Lucasfilm at all, which is bullshit. We deserve it. The fans are in an uproar. She makes Lucasfilm look bad and Disney look bad, and I know Chapek knows this. They can't be so blind that they think that we like her. We don't. So this is what I think may or may not be happening. If she gets an extension, it's long enough for Indy 5 to come out next July, and then it's over. Or we get that big announcement in May saying Kathleen Kennedy is retiring from Lucasfilm. In July, Jon Favreau or Kojak Janicek, Shiloh Shepard are taking over for her. Which, Kojak sitting there taking questions. That would be funny. Yeah, they do. They all point to hers out. So these rumors coming around and saying, I'm looking at him going, I need more information. Because the rumor that she's out, I'm going to say is 50-50. The rumor that she's saying is like 20-80 right now. When Doomcock posted his community page, I was like, you need to slow down. You need to calm down. We need to step back, as Valiant was telling him, figure out what's going on. Now, Valiant said earlier that he thinks that Favreau doesn't want it. I think Favreau would take it in a heartbeat. But what I also think is that they're giving Kennedy space to leave gracefully, which I'm like, why? Hollywood, you're so fucked up. I don't get it. Anyway, but I do think that there's more to this than what Sutton or WDW Pro are saying. I really do. And I don't believe for a minute that she has a multi-year contract because it doesn't fit what Chapek wants to do. And he might just want to keep her around just so he can take care of Feige. Because he's basically playing whack-a-mole right now. And Feige is, because of the quote-unquote success that Ike Perlmutter did, that Feige is riding the coattails on. Feige is the hot property at Disney. And, I'm like, so I think Chapek has got a fight on his hands with that guy. But now, that being said, do I think this says Kathy's in? No. Yeah, and you know what we want her for her is to be fired. I think that would be fair, by the way. Incompetence and negligence should not be celebrated, but because of who she is, you know, and the fact that there are enough people that believe the mythology that she's the most powerful woman in Hollywood. You know, I mean, I did Ask Maze. I went and I dug up. Yeah, and that's the thing. I dug up a bunch of names of women back 100 years ago. And at least one of them ran her own fucking studio. So Kathleen Kennedy being some sort of glass ceiling breaker is bullshit. Okay? And she believes her own fucking bullshit. And that's the thing that hurts this whole thing. No, and you know, she will leave. I mean, she's 60, she's gonna be, or she's 67 years old. So she's an old, I mean, she's a senior citizen now. And she really does need to go. And I, you know, like I said, if you go and watch that video I did, a woman-to-woman talk with Kathleen Kennedy or whatever it's called, no one has sat her down and said, you need to stop pretending and you need to drop this. You need to walk away because you're hurting the company and yourself by holding on. It didn't work out. Shit happens. Let it go. Surrender the fantasy and stop believing your own bullshit because it's boring. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm getting messages from my husband, so I gotta rock, and I will talk to y'all later. Anything else happens, yeah, but I don't think she has any dirt on Bob Chapek because he wasn't part of that crowd. In fact, if she did, she'd already used it. I mean, but Cameron talked more about that anyway. I gotta go to Mass. I'm getting bothered by my husband, so I'll see you guys later. Have a good afternoon, good evening, and I will be in the chat on Echo Base for a while tonight. Talk to y'all later. See you around the galaxy.